All right, so in the last video, we got it set up to iterate through our questions, and then we were able to detect basically when the user has answered all the questions and then try to navigate to the end screen. So we're not going to work on the end screen just yet. We're going to add a new feature here for animations on correct and incorrect answers. So we want to basically change the color here of the answer choice to red or green, more or less, and then give a little pause before we switch to the next question. So the way we're going to do this is, one, based on whether or not they have the right answer. When they submit, we want to choose a class to apply. So the way this is going to look is, one, let me use the selected answer in the log that we already have. And what I just want to see, does selected answer equal our current question dot answer? And so let me save this, and hopefully, actually, let me remove any of these other log statements that we have as well. I think that's all of them. That one there. All right, so as I click on one of these, what's the correct syntax here? Script source. So this should be true, which that says false. The alert should be true, so it's looking like it's not correct. So let's log out the selected answer and the current answer when we click. So 1 and 3, it looked like for that one, the alert was 4 and 4, so that should have been correct. And where do we put the JavaScript and a script tag? So it should be 1 and 1. So that looked right. So let's do this one more time. I don't know what I was missing there. So where do we put the HTML script tag? So since what we're pulling out of here is a string and the other one is a number, we can't use triple equals because that's a strict comparison. It will actually compare the data type as well. If we use a double equals, that should give us what we're looking for. So where do we put actually syntax for this should be C. So that is true. If I do this one wrong, we don't put it in a JS tag, that should be false. All right, so we're able to detect whether or not the answer was correct. So basically, based on that, we want to figure out which class to apply. And we're going to have two different classes, a correct class and an incorrect class. So there's lots of different ways we could do this. I could start with a class to apply, and I could just have it be incorrect by default. And then say if, and then I could use this stuff. If it actually is correct, then I will just update class to apply to correct. So this is a pretty common technique to go ahead and give a default value. So instead of me checking to see, does it equal this? If so, do this. If it doesn't equal this, then do something else. I can just set the default to incorrect, then check to see if it is correct, and go ahead and update that to correct. Now there's another way that we could do this is, and this is going to throw an error because I've already got it defined, but I could say const class to apply, and I could use the ternary operator where I could say selected answer equals current question dot answer. And the way the ternary operator works is, if this condition is true, then I will assign this value. If it's not, then I'll assign this value. So this accomplishes the same thing. If you are comfortable with the syntax, it obviously is just a one-liner. It's wrapped because my editor is short, but it's a one-liner versus 3 or 4 lines here. So I think this one is a little bit more readable. This one is, if you're comfortable with the ternary syntax, it's just as useful. So we've got the class to apply. Now we need to actually apply it. Let's just log out class to apply just to be sure that that's right. And this is kind of my process here. As I go through, I'll make sure I log stuff out along the way to check to make sure things look right. So that should be correct. This one should be incorrect. Okay, so that looks like it's working. So now we want to actually go ahead and apply this class. So we'll get our selected choice and we'll get the parent element. So what we're doing here is the selected choice is this piece of text that we're clicking on, but we actually want the container element. So to get that, we'll grab the parent element and we'll say class list .add, and this is how you apply classes in JavaScript, and we'll add in the class to apply. So let me grab, let's grab this container. Let's click on it and notice that it applied this correct class here. So that's what we wanted. If we do it again, this is an incorrect option, so it should give the incorrect class. But you'll notice that it actually keeps the correct class as well. So what we want to do is do the same exact thing, except eventually we want to remove the class, because we just want the class to be there for just long enough to show the color and then move on. So the way we're going to do this, and actually let's go ahead and do the CSS part of this first, so we can just see what it looks like to add these classes. All right, so inside of our CSS, we're going to add two classes. One is the correct, and it's just going to be a background color, and it's going to be a green color. This is actually, I pulled this from the Bootstrap colors that they use for correctness. And then the incorrect is going to be the same kind of thing, but the background color is going to be a red color, DC3545. Let's just, 45. Make sure that looks like a red color. There we go. So now what we should see, since we've got the remove commented out, as I click here, it's going to add the class, but it won't remove it. So if you see a green and red, and then this should be another red, and then we go to the end page. So what we want to do is remove that class after we're done, but if we have these back to back, it's going to apply the class, remove the class immediately, and it seems like nothing happens. So what we want to do is use a set timeout to give a little bit of delay before we actually remove that class. So set timeout is a function built into JavaScript that we will call, and it takes a callback function with what you want to do, and then it takes a parameter of how long you want to be delayed. So inside of here, we're going to remove that class, and then we're going to go ahead and get the new question as well. So we're going to do all of that inside of this set timeout that is going to wait for 1,000 milliseconds or 1 second here. So let's see what this looks like. Let's save this. Let us, and this auto reload just reloads a couple times, so I'll give it a second here. So let's do a correct one, which script source should be correct. So that should show green. And then alert box is not a real thing, so that should show red. And notice it goes away, and then it handles everything pretty well. So in the next video, what we're going to do is create our heads-up display, which is going to display what question number we're on, and then what the user score is. So we'll talk about tracking score there as well. So that's going to do it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.